We want to welcome you to a first. And as many of you know, in the 8.5 years that we've been doing the shir on the Nesivos Shalom every Thursday night, it's been for a couple of years here already at Bika Shalom of Lakewood. This tonight will be a first. As many of you know, we've done the shir from many, many places around the world, and wherever we've gone in the world, we've brought you the shir from there. And it's made for some very, very interesting video and audio over the years. Many of you do not know, maybe some of you do know, I actually just landed from Los Angeles. And I was thinking of recording the shir over there because it would have been the first shir from Los Angeles. But in a way, I'm glad that I didn't, because I had this opportunity tonight to come here and really to wish the Chassan and Kala Leiby and the Kala people that I got to know, the Horowitz family over the past couple of years, and of course, very special people. I know the parents for probably almost 30 years now, maybe 27, 28 years. You have very, very special parents. So it doesn't surprise me when I see their children. It doesn't surprise me at all. And this week, really, besides for the Parshas Shavua, which is, we always begin this year by saying what Parsha it is, Shalom Tetzaveh. Besides that, we also are going to read Parshas Zachor this week. And Parshas Zachor is the second Parsha of the Dalet Parshiyos. And we always read this Parsha the Shabbos before Purim. And it's a commandment about Amalek, to eradicate Amalek, and it's actually very, very interesting and very complex. This whole idea of reminding ourselves every year, and remembering before Purim, that it's our job, and it's incumbent on us, and it will be incumbent on us one day, to totally wipe out Amalek. And if Nesivos Shalom asks a question right here, and if you ever think about what exactly Amalek could have had in mind, when Amalek came to wage war with Klal Yisrael, first of all, what kind of a war, we have to explain that, but what was on Amalek's mind? Amalek saw, and the entire world knew, what happened by Yetzias Mitzrayim. By Yetzias Mitzrayim, not only were there makas, and not only was there so much pain in Mitzrayim, but it came to makas b'chayros, and people died. It came to Kriyas Yamsuf, so many Mitzrayim went under the water, so many Mitzrayim were killed. The entire world knew what had happened when they left Mitzrayim. And yet Amalek, what was he thinking about? You meet somebody and you see somebody that just beat up a lot of people or called harm to people. You don't walk in the room. Amalek, what are you doing? You're coming here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu just wiped out so many people in Mitzrayim, and you're thinking now, for some reason, to come and wage war with Klal Yisrael. You know you're going to lose, right? What are you thinking about? What are you coming to do here? Another question, Nesivos Shalom asks, why did Moshe Rabbeinu enlist the help of Yeshua? In the Milchemes Amalek, it tells us, the end of Parshas Beshalach, that Moshe's hands were heavy, they were weak, and Moshe Rabbeinu needed Yeshua to come and wage this war. And in general, we really have to ask the question, why only Amalek? Did Amalek do such a terrible thing that only Amalek we have to remember, and we have to every single year remind ourselves that Amalek is no good. Amalek we have to wipe out. And also after all these years, where obviously there's nobody alive from those days of Amalek, why is it such an important thing that every descendant of Amalek, anyone who ever called themselves Amalek, should be wiped out? And the Nesivos Shalom tells us a beautiful, beautiful idea to answer all of these questions. And he says like this, that Amalek knew very well that everything that happened for Klal Yisrael at Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kriyas Yamsuf, Amalek knew very well that it was totally Hashem. It was totally HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nobody had any hand in this. There was no person that pulled off anything, any one of the makas, any part of Kriyas Yamsuf. It was all totally HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Amalek knew that. So Amalek knew that if it comes to wage a war now with Hashem, they can't go. They can't go wage war with Hashem because it's not a kamikaze operation. They know they're going to lose. They're not in this to lose. With HaKadosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're not going to wage war. But what was happening now? Now Klal Yisrael was in 49 days that were leading up to Kabbalah Satorah. And Kabbalah Satorah, Amalek knew, Kabbalah Satorah cannot be just from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to change ourselves. We have to do something. Kabbalah Satorah comes on the part of the people. It's directly related to the effort and the changes that we make in our lives. So Amalek had a cheshbon. They weren't totally crazy. They knew if we're going to war, if it's going to be with Hashem, that kind of a war we can't do. But now, it's a war with Klal Yisrael. Because it's not just HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every member of Klal Yisrael has to go ahead and put effort into it. Klal Yisrael, the Yidden, then we could go ahead and fight. We could go ahead and fight them. Vayilachem im Yisrael b'Refidim. You know how Amalek wanted to fight Klal Yisrael? They wanted to fight the Lashon of Refidim, and Chazal tell us the Lashon of Refidim is a Lashon of Rifyon. It's a Lashon of weakening us, to weaken our resolve. To weaken our resolve to be Mekabel the Torah, to make us actually doubt our capabilities. And we shouldn't believe in ourselves. And that's what Amalek wanted. That we are people, Klal Yisrael, we're a people, we're a confident people. And Amalek wanted to put a little doubt in each individual's mind that you are not who you really think you are. You don't have the capabilities to do the things that you really want to do. Because when we believe in ourselves, there's an unlimited amount that we could do. We could really, really do so much. And when the Yetzer Hara wants to get to a person, says in Nesivos Shalom, the Yetzer Hara doesn't really, he's not just interested in the Aveira that we're going to do. The Yetzer Hara wants you to do the Aveira and then get down. He wants you to be resigned. He wants resignation. He wants to knock your confidence. He wants this rifyon, this weakening of your resolve, this weakening of you thinking that you are who you are. That is what the Yetzer Hara wants, that you should be down, that you should be depressed, that you shouldn't be confident in what you do. And that is why every single year we say, Zachor S.S.S. Amalek. We say every year that you have to remember specifically Amalek. You know why? Because Amalek wanted us to lose our drive. And he wanted us to be depressed. Don't worry, now everybody will know that it's live at the Sheva Brothers. There's always a tired kid at the Sheva Brothers. I don't blame him. So Amalek wanted to fight this confidence that every Yid has. And that was Yeshua. We asked, why did Yeshua? Yeshua was a Talmud. Yeshua was a Talmud of Moshe Rabbeinu, that no matter what happened, he remained a Talmud. Yeshua was full of confidence. He always knew, straight ahead. Moshe Rabbeinu told Yeshua, go get me people like yourself. Get me people that are confident. Get me people that never get down. Get me people who are Avdei Hashem, Ha'imdim, Beis Hashem, Balelos. Even when it's nighttime, even when things aren't so great for them in their lives, they still are never down. They always come to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even under those circumstances. And the Nesivos Shalom brings, this one more thing, the Nesivos Shalom brings from the Lechem Chizur and Aleinu. He says a very, very beautiful word. And he says like this on the pasuk of Tehillim. Many of us are familiar with this pasuk. Hasam avim rechuvay hamahalech al kanfei ruach. We say it in Baruch Nafshi, and the Nesivos Shalom says that we could translate the pasuk this way: Hasam avim rechuvay. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu places his chariot. He places his chariot even on those who have already become of. They've become thick with gashmias. They've become thick, unfortunately, sometimes with averos. Hashem is telling us, David HaMelech is telling us, that Hashem will always be there and even place his chariot, Hasam Avim Rechuvay, will always be with the person, even if that person has been over averos. However, there's a caveat, there's a tanai over here, the end of the pasuk. But Mahalech al Kanfei Ruach. That yes, it could be possible that a person does averos, that a person does things sometimes that are not so great. But you have to be Mahalech al Kanfei Ruach. You have to be always attempting that your wings should fly. You should always be attempting, yes, I did something wrong, but I'm going to grow. I'm going to be better. I'm going to continue to move my wings. I'm going to continue to attempt to extricate myself from this matzav by spreading my wings. And really, don't be ruffle. You're telling us the lesson of Amalek also. Don't ever throw in the towel. Don't ever say, I did an avera, I did something wrong. I'm depressed, I'm down, because then the Yetzer Hara has you exactly where he wants you. That is the Yetzer Hara of Amalek. And that is something that we have to remember, that most importantly, if we do something wrong, never to be down about it, never to be depressed about it. And that's the Zachor. It's something that we always have to remember. And really, when Heshi called me up today and he said that I want you to give the shir tonight at the Sheva Brachas, I thought to myself, okay, so we have to find a way to connect the Sheva Brachas to the shir. And anybody who knows Leiby, who knows the Horowitz brothers, knows when you come into a room, and I've been hanging around a nice amount of years with Heshi as an EMT, and with all the brothers here in Bika Cholim, when you walk into a room, there's no such thing as being down. It could be the most gloomy of days sometimes, and things happen. It could be a day, a very, very hard day. But when the Horowitz brothers all rolled into the room over here in Bika Cholim, something changes, something uplifts. Like sometimes I would find it's like, Heshi, what's so funny? Like, Leiby, what's going on? What's the joke? I'm not in on all the inside Bika Cholim jokes. I haven't really gotten into the clique after all these years. But they're a very, very appropriate lesson, an example to us what it means to have Simchas HaChaim, which drives you, which makes you always want to grow, which makes you always want to do more. And from what I've heard, people have told me about this special family in Montreal, also the people they were mashadach with. So really, as everybody always says, Invei HaGefen, these are people that have the lesson of Parsha Zachor, the lesson to know that no matter what happens in life and no matter where you are, we're going to grow from it, we're going to be happy with it, we're never going to be down, especially in a week of Purim. I want to wish you that you should have a lot of Hatzlacha, you should have Mazel Tov, and this should be the first of many, many simchas that we share together, and we should all be zoicha together to the ultimate simcha, to be Makal Pnei Mashiach, and here we Amen.